Cheryl Halpern received title from the Palace of Surakarta, one of the old kingdoms of Nusantara. The Kingdom of Surakarta inaugurated Cheryl Halpern, an American filmmaker, to be a member of the royal family with a title equal to a princess.
You know, I come from a country which has never really had nobility, aristocracy, a country that's very young. So to be here and acknowledged by a kingdom that goes back many, many centuries for the work that I have been doing as a documentarian to promote awareness for the human condition and the human spirit is very moving and humbling for me. And I am honored to be so acknowledged by the King and the kingdom.
Keparang ingkang sotan, pakerino kapatakan ganjaran pangkat so sesebatan abdikan Pak Sisetono, asmo so sesebatan Kanjeng Mas Ayu, Darmas Tuti Nityas. Anda terus nobar eksolan, anda tepono okulan dodi, go kawini abdikan.
Continuing their old tradition, Cheryl Halpern followed the traditional ceremony. She was given the title with a new name Kanjeng Mas Ayu Mangkaningtias and special attire from the Palace of Surakarta by the King of Surakarta, Panembahan Agung PB 13 Sinahun Tijolan.
Indonesia is a country, a republic that fascinates me. Its history is so unique. To have a national motto that expresses the notion of unity while acknowledging the diversity of all of its people and their faiths and their traditions is a culture that needs to be shared and promoted with the rest of the world today, where there is so much violence, there is so much disunity, and there is so much disrespect. So what I would hope for in going forward would be the ability to share my experiences in Indonesia with the diversity of Indonesians, with everybody else with whom I engage. And even America needs to remember that in fact, unity requires respect for all of our diversity. And it's essential that we remember this sooner rather than later.
Cheryl Halpern's reputation and dedication for promoting peace and culture, as well as the international awards she received, were considered outstanding. Besides making humanitarian films, Halpern also founded an initiative called Visions of Peace that helps the young people to contribute for a peaceful tomorrow through arts.
When I was involved with my first educational initiatives, I had met a woman who introduced me to the challenge that the young people, the children from the Israeli community, both Christian, Jewish, Islamic, were facing given the violence in their culture. And she created an artistic initiative that allowed these children to paint individually their anguish, their pain, but then to collectively express their hopes and their visions for peace. And when I met these children, I learned their stories. I chose to support this initiative. And in fact, we brought these children to Westminster to be able to tell their stories to the British Parliament. And then we brought them to the United States with a similar moment of sharing. From there, I decided I really wanted to commit myself and focus on the children, because they are a generation, they are the generation that will have to emerge as leaders. And it will be these children who decide what path their individual societies, their communities, their countries will take.
The Visions of Peace Awards encourages Indonesian youth to hone their artistic talents, channeling their ideas through the variety of art and film modalities, including smartphones, and share the culture and art of Indonesia for humanity and peace. As a grandmother of 11 grandchildren, she is concerned with the world they are currently living in. With social networking platform, young people are inheriting a system of communication that allows for misinformation. Its direction to be broadcast on the international internet networks, and how they will perceive the world is how they will perceive each other.
I'm very proud to be a grandmother, but I am concerned about the world that they are currently living in. With the social networking platforms, the digital media, they are inheriting a system of communication that allows for misinformation, misdirection to be broadcast on the international internet networks, and how they will perceive the world, how they will perceive each other, how they will perceive those who are different. They need to be given the opportunity to express visions that they have for tomorrow. And I felt that I needed to commit myself to promoting that children still perceive and can perceive a vision for a peaceful tomorrow. Because the world today is all too violent. Corruption is rampant. You have got disunity. You have got a lack of dignity and a lack of respect that seems to be pervasive in every society. So, together with the Dematra family, I chose to create and launch here in Indonesia for Indonesian children who are no different than my grandchildren when it comes to the internet and this digital environment, a artistic opportunity, regardless of age, to express themselves and express their vision for a peaceful tomorrow. They need to have hope, and they need to be able to think today for what they, as the future adults of tomorrow, will hope to achieve in order to maintain dignity, respect, and unity within their world and our world.
Halpern also received Guardian of Civilization Award, which was held in conjunction with Borobudur International Film Festival. The award was given for her contribution to the civilization.
Each of us is a guardian of civilization. We all need to be defenders of our society, our community, because civilization, our communities, our societies, always have divisions. There are always those that want to create a different story, a story that might be more in their own self-interest and best interest, instead of a broader communal interest. Every person has the capacity to be a guardian, a defender of liberty, of freedom, of respect, of dignity, of the golden rule, the ethic of reciprocity. Don't do unto another what you don't want to have done to yourself. Treat one another with respect. It's the tradition of Moses to treat one another with love, compassion, and caring. So I am honored to be acknowledged as a filmmaker, as a guardian of civilization. And I hope that my stories, the documentaries that I will produce and direct, will continue to promote the themes of respect, tolerance, compassion, and acceptance of one another without imposing on one another. So I thank the festivals and the Madhukara and the regents who have so chosen to acknowledge me.
Any new projects coming in?
I'm in the process of completing a documentary that begins just before World War II in the Netherlands. And it's the story of what occurs after the Nazis occupy the Netherlands and Belgium. And it's a story about individuals, the grocer, the shoemaker, the lay people who put their own lives at risk to save the Allied airmen who were shot down and to enable them to then cross the channel to return to England and continue the fight against evil. And the relevance today is that as we look at what is occurring in Europe, is a re-emergence of neo-Nazism, prejudice, intolerance, and the Dutch, to their credit, have begun to remember those righteous people who put their lives at risk, and to remember them by naming neighborhoods, streets, pathways in their memory, because they are concerned that their children will not know the story, will not know how to stand up against evil should it reemerge, or as it is currently emerging. and how not to be part of a herd mentality, to passively accept what evil might impose on them. And I hope to have this finished by November of 2018 to celebrate Veterans Day, to acknowledge everyone who chose to stand up and fight evil.